Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the 143. This is Under Review coming at you live with episode 110.
We have a doozy for you. We alluded to it a little bit last week, and now we have brought it to life just talking about some sports rivalries that we have going on right now.
It's the off season, so it's time for us to there's nothing to really go over. We're just talking about facts now. But we decided what to talk about for the next while, and today we're going to get into. We do. Today we're going to get into a popular debate that's been going on mainly on Twitter that we've been seeing a lot about that we have not really appreciated. Nick, what is that?
There's just a lot of unrest here in Texas. It's been an ongoing battle for the last last like 30 years or whatever, since the Astros have joined the American League or whenever that was. So we've just been fighting a battle here on all fronts, just taking shells in the trenches on the front lines. Me and Joseph have been a huge part of the defense system here and the offense system. So it's been a grind these last couple months for sure.
Yeah, just a fact check real quick. I don't think it's been 30 years.
Whatever it was, yeah.
But I would say that the feud's been going on for probably like 3 or 4 years. The Astros joined in 2013, but when they joined, we were really good. They were really bad. And then when they got really good, we got really bad. So really the last couple of years hasn't really been like a big rivalry.
It's only been a real big thing since 2017 when they cheated. If you remember that one, I do.
I remember that one. But yeah, definitely I would say we saw it get taken to new heights this past year. Rangers, Astros, they were pretty much neck and neck for the division for most of the second half of the season. It was getting pretty heated. And then the Rangers, obviously the last day of the regular season, last game, all we had to do was win it to win the division. We lost that game. The Astros got the division. Then we met in the ALCS. Everyone knows what happened there. We won every game we played in Houston, and game 6 and 7 were blowouts. And then, we went on to win the World Series this past year. And so, as of right now, the Rangers are reigning champions, and that's not changing until, they lose.
October.
Well, honestly, we could remain reigning champions next October.
Who knows? Who knows?
But the name of the game in any sport is that you can't trash talk the winning team. It's just like there's nothing really to trash talk, especially if that team beat you in the playoffs on the way to winning.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense now, does it?
So, Nick, just what are some popular things Astros fans have been saying this offseason?
Well, for one thing, they like to wave the division in our face like it's a badge of honor. And obviously that just goes to show how they're a bunch of casuals. Talking about, every time I get into it with someone on Twitter, they always send me some dumb graphic of AL West division champs or whatever. And it's like, you ask anyone that has ever sniffed a baseball if they'd be willing to trade the division for a pennant / World Series trophy. I think just about everyone in the history of America would be making that trade.
Also, I just want to clarify, these are we're talking today about Twitter Astros fans that we've encountered.
Yes.
This is not all Astros fans, but this is Twitter Astros fans that have been really, really vocal recently about how the Rangers, they're still not as good as the Astros. And that has been the big thing, the division, which, that's okay with me. I really love how the season ended and how it played out, so I'm fine with them winning the division. But I would say another one is, I think we got to shut the dynasty thing down really quickly. We just saw Dynasty emerged from Kansas City, winning 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. And I've heard from Astros fans, definitely all over Twitter, that they were a dynasty, or they are a dynasty, because they've been to 6 straight semifinal ALCS appearances, not 6 straight wins, not 6 straight World
Do you
Series.
get a ring for that round or no?
Not. There's no ring. There is no ring.
I just wanted to clarify, but keep going.
They have won a total of 1.5-ish World Series in the last 5 years. No one's counting the 2017 one, except
it's 1.5, but it's closer on the side of 1.
Yeah. I mean, if you're an Astros fan, you count that one. The rest of the world doesn't see it as a real World Series trophy. So they're saying, for some reason, because they won in 22, that they're better than us now. But I mean, here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing. We're gonna get into it now. Is like, these are things people have been saying on Twitter. It's like, there's really nothing you can say when we literally mowed through y'all to get to the World Series and win it all. So even if we had lost the World Series, we would still technically be better than Houston, because we beat Houston head-to-head in the playoffs. Because when you have that head-to-head matchup in the playoffs, I mean, it pretty much trumps. I don't know what you can say about that.
We're 1-0 against the Astros in the postseason. I mean, perfect right now, 100%. I mean, that's really all you can ask for. And then, I mean, we won the whole show. We ended up winning the World Series. So not only were we better than Houston, but we were the best team in baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, like, go back 1 year from today. Were we saying anything about how we were better than the Astros? No. I don't think we've ever said that until we beat them in the playoffs, when we were allowed to.
When we had something to talk about.
You don't chirp if you got beat. We've been getting beat the last few years by the Astros, so we haven't been chirping about how we're better than them or anything. And now we're allowed to say that we're better than them because we beat them head-to-head, and then we took it all. We're reigning champions. Technically, we're better than like every other team right now because we won it all. That's what being a champion is. And Houston fans, they wanted to compare the parade size because their parade was bigger than ours, which, I mean, ours was in a suburb of Dallas. Theirs was right in the middle of downtown Houston. So you could talk about that, but also just like, who cares? We had a parade. How many people came to y'all's parade this year?
Oh, wait, they didn't have one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's another.
And then they like to talk about viewership or whatever, like least watched World Series ever. And it was like, oh, well, because, that validates whether your ring counts or not. But then also it's like, okay, if you look at the last 10 years, the World Series viewership has been on a decline. So it's like, it's not anything inherently we did. It's just baseball doing a poor job of putting teams out there that aren't the Yankees or Dodgers or whatever.
I don't really care how many people watched it. Like, where's the trophy?
I mean, I was about to say, the only 2 people that watched it are sitting right here, or the only 2 people that really mattered.
Hey, every time we watched, we had that record, the undefeated.
We had that energy. Me and Joseph were 11-0 when we watched a game together. Okay, I mean, hey, that's worth something. Yep.
Also, I'll bring up the stat of the week now. Brought to you by Andrews Logistics, our amazing sponsor. It kind of goes with just the hate that the Rangers get on a pretty consistent basis. Last year, our chances to win the World Series was 2.0%. And we won this year. Now, this year, our chance to win the World Series with pretty much the same squad, like almost identical, 1.3%. So actually lower than last year when we weren't as good. We weren't as stacked last year coming into the season.
I mean,
that's the stat of the week. That's the disrespect we keep getting.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If anything, it should be higher because we're proving ourselves as good and we're bringing back essentially the same team.
Nobody respects the Rangers. The announcers during every game didn't respect the Rangers. I mean, like, nobody does, and Houston definitely doesn't. But the amount of praise that Houston has been getting every game is it's ridiculous. The amount of praise they're getting this offseason is ridiculous. Look, I mean, they should have beaten us in the ALCS, but they couldn't do it at home at all. Like they couldn't
Just
win
to shut the
one
door at
game.
home.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they had plenty of opportunity, and I'm just tired of hearing about anything, especially this offseason, about how they're better than us. Because you're not better than us this offseason. It's just not how it works.
Because
If
you
anything,
didn't
you should
win.
be quiet.
With that, your player of the week, the daddy of the Houston Astros, the owner of that entire organization, El Bombi Adolis Garcia,
Our
he
guy.
hit 357 in the ALCS, winning ALCS MVP. Well deserved. 5 home runs, 15 RBIs. Dude was absolutely raking against the Astros in the ALCS. I mean, he was
Mm-hmm.
an absolute force. I mean, they couldn't do anything to stop him. You know, they just
They tried.
they woke the beast in
They
Game
did.
5, and he showed up and hit a grand salami in Game 6, I believe that
Yep.
was, and then
To
in Game
seal the deal.
7, he was like 3 for
3 for
something.
4.
You know,
3 for 4.
3 for 4, I believe.
With
Hit
2
a
home
couple
runs.
bombs, so he was just absolutely lights out in that series.
I think the Rangers got tired of the disrespect. I mean, for some reason, we're still referred to as the little brother of the Houston Astros. And, you know, people can keep saying whatever they want. I think no matter what we do, we're going to be disrespected in terms of the Astros. They're the bigger brand right now in
Yeah.
baseball. But, you know, we just got to keep winning. Winning is what shuts people up. And, you know, right now, I mean, Houston fans on Twitter are just they're terrible. They think they won the World Series last year. Like it's bad.
The way
But
they be talking about us. And also,
yeah,
just just for anyone who's wondering, the all-time record between Rangers and Astros is 134 to 132 in favor of the Rangers. So I mean, you got that
and we have
going
the
for
one
us.
that matters. We have the
Yeah, we have.
ALCS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we go, 0-14 or 0-14 this season to the Astros, will we play them again in the playoffs and we beat them? We are still the better
I
team.
mean, like we
It's about
said before, I
playoffs.
mean, I'll make that trade. I'm glad y'all won the regular
It's
season.
about
Like,
playoffs.
congrats. I mean, we won when it mattered.
Yeah. People forget about the regular season. Well, not Astros fans apparently, but everyone else forgets about the regular season. But it's all about the postseason and it's all about rings. So we're returning with the same squad of guys, pretty much, minus a couple pitchers. So, I mean, barring any injuries, baseball's it's just one of those long seasons, so you're not going to know till later. But we should.
I mean, the
we
AL
should do the
West,
same thing.
it's just a whole different dynamic now, and obviously the Astros can't handle it because
Yeah, they're used
there's
to coasting.
teams that are competitive. You know, they're used to being handed the division every year, but the Rangers, we're a competitive team now. The Mariners have been getting better and better as the last couple seasons have gone on. So they'll be as good, if not a little bit better than they were last year. So this division should be hopefully competitive for a while now, but that's just something we're not really used to seeing from the AL West. Obviously, the A's are still going to be horrible. The Angels are still going to be horrible, but they're going to be worse because they don't have Shohei. So
I think it's a new era also as well. We have like one of the top 5, I think, farm systems right now in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros don't have a single prospect in the top 100. Like they don't have anybody to funnel up into their team right now. And so slowly, like in the next few years, I think the Astros are going to get worse and worse because they're not a young team. We are a very young team, minus the 2, veterans that we have, Corey and Marcus, who have been awesome. But our team, I mean,
plenty
the Rangers,
good years left of baseball.
Yeah, we're on the up and up. I mean, Chris Young came out and said the other day that, we're not resting on our laurels is the quote, I think. We are, we're trying to get better, trying to win it again. This is not like a Washington Nationals scenario where we win and sell the whole team. So, hopefully we can continue to shut this Houston stuff up in the playoffs. And I mean, this rivalry though, it's good for baseball. It's good for Texas. It's been a while since it's never really been competitive. So it's really nice to have that competitive rivalry and to be able to like know we can beat them and know that it means something now.
I think it was good for baseball.
Oh yeah,
Just getting the Lone Star Classic, the Lone Star Series, is we've grown to call it, bringing that to new light.
yeah.
It had been a regular season thing, but this last year we got to see it on the biggest stage possible, which was the ALCS, and so
Yep.
I think that brought a lot of respect to, you know, the rivalry between those two teams and brought the Rangers to a whole new light. So I think that's good for baseball because now this is getting recognized as kind of a not a big rivalry, but it's getting up there now because
Baseball's
both teams are
been
competitive.
baseball's been criticized for not being like intense enough. And during that whole series in the ALCS, like it was probably the most intense thing I've ever watched. So I mean, it was great for baseball because I mean the World Series wasn't really that because the two teams had, I mean they were playing each other in the World Series, but there wasn't like any extra rivalry or anything there. So I mean the ALCS essentially like that was, and everyone kind of knew that was like the World Series because it was like whoever won that was going to win the World Series.
Was probably going to, yeah.
And so just absolute crazy series, and we came away with a win. So there's really nothing you can say to us right now. You're welcome to say stuff next postseason if things go your way, but right now there's really nothing
absolutely.
you can say.
But see, here's the thing: is because as Rangers fans for the last couple of years, you just had to sit here and take it.
We've been quiet.
Now we have something to say, so obviously we're going to say it. We're going to talk our talk because
we're allowed to say it.
Because we had something to prove, and we proved it last year by winning a ring. So now it's our time to, let everyone know about it. And so it's Houston's time to just sit back and take it. I mean, obviously you don't have to be okay with that, but that's just how it's going to be for the next season until y'all prove otherwise.
It's not fun, but it's your turn. So we've been doing it for the last.
That's just how it works. That's how sports works. What have you done for me lately?
You got to know your place.
Lost in the ALCS to us, and we won the World Series. So that's really all that matters.
Know your place. We're champions. You lost to us. That's how it is right now. That's how it is right now. That's just the facts.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just what it's going to be. Them's just the facts. Well, here's we like to end our shows on Under Review. I have brought to you a quote from the great Yogi Berra, and he was known for, obviously he was a really great baseball player, but he gave some quotes that didn't really make sense. They're just they're baseball gems. If you know him at all, you probably have heard this one. He said, "It's getting late early," and that's the truth. I mean,
that is the truth.
You can just ponder that for the next week, figure out what it means, and if you do, just let us know because I have no idea what that means. But
I'm not even going to explain it.
One of his more famous quotes.
Not even going to try. Thank you, Mr. Yogi Berra. And thank you for listening and tuning in this week. We will bring you another episode next week of Under Review.